Hook, story, call to action. You've heard me talk about it. Maybe, maybe not. Is this the first time you've heard me talk about hook, story, call to action? Well, you are in luck. Today, our focus this month is on putting some of the pieces together that you have learned in the past. We've talked about hooks, we've talked about stories, we've talked about call to action. How do they all fit together? And what the heck is all of this stuff? This is a quick and easy way, a quick and easy model, if you will. It's also super effective in terms of going live, whether it's in your profile or your group or your page or wherever else you want to go. So if you've not heard me talk about hook, story, call to action, then this video is for you. Okay, today, the purpose of this video is to refresh on hook, story, call to action. If you've never learned hook, story, call to action because you just joined my group not too long ago, you're in for a treat because you're going to get all three of them today. Now, this is a two-part series. We're going to do part one today, which is just reviewing the concept. What is hook? What is story? What is call to action? And then next Tuesday, same time, same place, we'll put it all together. How do you plan it? How do they interlock or interlace? That would be the better word. How are they all connected? There, let's just say it that way. Okay, so that is what you're going to learn. Today you're going to learn the model. Next week, you're going to learn how to plan it. All right? All right. So a couple of quick call outs. If any of you are in the Go Live League, you are welcome to stay. But we just did our Go Live League call where we went into depth on all of these components and a couple of others. This is going to be a bit of a repeat, but sometimes those repeats are good, right? Sometimes it's good to hear it another time and recognize what it is. We're going to just cover hook, story, call to action today. So I just wanted to call that out. Okay, the other thing I wanted to call out is if any of you haven't participated in a Go Live challenge, this does not replace the Go Live Challenge. In fact, I often encourage people to attend multiple Go Live Challenge. I think Sandy Bartlett is the reigning champion. I believe she's done 6. I could be adding one in there. I can't remember for sure. The next Go Live Challenge is going to be the week of October 23rd. And I had planned to have that set up so I could give you all the links so you could get registered today. And I forgot until just now. So I owe you a link to sign up for the Go Live Challenge. But for now, if you want to at least put it on your calendar, it is the week of October 23rd. Okay. Now, I'm recognizing that a number of you have joined this Facebook group, and I only do that Go Live Challenge once a quarter. And some of you may be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to fix that. And we're going to create this. That's why we're doing this. I don't want to make you wait until October 23rd to learn these concepts. So we're going to do it today. All right. All right. Any questions on that before I dive in? Let me check comments and make sure. Okay. Gulnara says, did I miss a call? Yeah, we did a content call for the Go Live League. We just had it. It's recorded, so you get the recording. I know you're on vacation, Gulnara, so I got your back. It'll be a good recording to watch, I promise. Okay. All right. Are you ready? Ready to dive in? Okay. It's a 3-step process. Okay. This is a process that you can use to plan we're talking about a quick live, 3 to 5 minute live anywhere you're going to go live. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to plan a hook, a story, and a call to action, all 3 steps. And we're going to talk about what each of those means today. All right. So the objective, look at this. I got new tools. You guys ready to see my new tools? It's so fun. I'm just like a nerd here. Oh, why is it not switching? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Am I back? Somebody comment and make sure that we're back. Clearly, that's not going to work in StreamYard. I learned new tools and they apparently only work in Zoom. Well, that's kind of a bummer. Okay. Am I back? You guys see me? Yes? Okay. No visuals today. That's okay. I don't even want to try it again. We don't need the visuals. We don't need the visuals. We're just gonna move forward. I will have to play with that later and see why it doesn't work. Okay. Now I'm all discombobulated. Hold on. Let me get back to my notes. Okay. Hook, story, call to action. We're going to go old school. Let me go old school. And I'm going to pull up paper. I was not prepared for this. So give me a sec to get my supplies. I do not know why that didn't work. Okay. You ready? Hook, story, call to action. Okay. There's your map. Hook, story, call to action. Okay. The goal of the hook is to grab attention. It is to get people to stop their scroll, right? They're on their phones doing this. Whoa, what's going on? What's she talking about? What's this all about? The hook stops the scroll and says, tune in and listen to me. Okay, that's the purpose of the hook. It grabs attention. Think about dangling bait in front of somebody that makes them want to take a bite. Taking a bite because they want to watch your video. That's your hook. Okay. Story is your content. The reason that I say story is that stories sell. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a second. Stories are, well, you all tell me, why do you like stories? Whether it's a book or a movie or a TV show or a podcast, what is it about stories that engages you? I'd love to see some comments in there. You're going to tell a story because sometimes without a story, it's going to be a really short live, right? If I'm going live and I'm going to teach you something or tell you something, I can be like, okay, here's how you do this. And it may be a minute long. Stories help us retain that information. They help us remember it. We connect with it in a different way. Okay. All right. I think there's a really serious delay, probably because I was just messing with that camera. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, I'm old school. I like old school. Okay, why do you like stories? Why do stories engage you in general? Why are stories engaging? Why do you watch movies? Why do you listen to TV? Why do you not listen to TV? Watch TV. Why do you listen to the radio? What is it about the story aspect that connects you and pulls you in? Okay, Mary Beth says it's easier to relate and connect to the point. You're absolutely right. It is a connecting point, right? Oftentimes we can put ourselves in that place as you're telling the story and you can go, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. Oh, now I see what you're talking about. It helps us understand a concept. Sometimes we can tell a story about something in our personal life that everybody has experienced that helps us connect to what you're trying to teach or share on your video. Okay. Stories also entertain us. That's why often we watch movies. We want to have an escape. We want to take away our stresses. We want whatever it may be. That's why we tune in. Well, if you tell stories inside your videos, then you become entertainment, educational, but entertainment nonetheless. Okay. And then your call to action is I want you to think of it as like, so what? I've just covered all this great information. I've had you eating out of the palm of my hand. I've maybe blown your mind. So what? Now what? What are we going to do with all of this? That's your call to action. It is the next step that people will take with you. Okay. So that's hook, story as part of your content, and then call to action. That's the model. Okay. Let's talk about hook. The easiest and most effective, it's what I still use today, even though there are 20 other ways that you can start a video, 20 other different hooks. Ask a question. Ask a question. But ask one question. Don't ask 100 questions. Okay. Let me give you an example. If I start my live, let's say I'm doing a live action. All right, everybody, what are you having for lunch today? Are you having a sandwich or are you having soup? And after lunch, do you need to take a nap or can you just go right back to work? And after you go back to work, how long is it until you need some sort of like snack or like dessert, or you have your dessert right after your, like, is the dessert? Okay. Does anybody know what question to ask right now? No, because I'm all over the place. So you get one question. You got to make it count. You got to make it count. That one question have some follow-ups. Okay, so here's a good example. If I were to say, all right, everybody, what are you having for lunch today? Super sandwich. I'd love to know. Or maybe it's something else. What is planned for lunch? Drop them in the comments. Now you know exactly what I'm wanting you to answer versus. And what also happens is that when we get nervous and we've got this flood of adrenaline in our system, we talk faster and we move faster. And so if we're asking multiple questions, it's like boom, 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 boom. That's not what you want to do. So you get one question. Okay. You're wanting to stop the scroll. That's the objective. That's the main objective. But there is a secondary objective. And that is it gets people engaging with you. It gets people commenting. And when the more people comment, especially at the beginning of your video, it does two things. Fires up the algorithm, which means your video is going to be shown to more people. It also sets the tone. It sets the tone for your people, for your viewers, like, no, we're engaging on this call. Y'all are going to type. Okay. So make it a question that's a good question that gets people thinking, that gets them typing, gets them commenting. Mary Beth. Why is Jamie so awesome? Hook. There you go. You got it, Mary Beth. Oh, I know. I'm so bummed that these tech tools don't work. I'm going to try it again at the end because maybe it was an ID 10T error. We will see. I may have just been hitting the wrong buttons and it may just not work in StreamYard. That's what I got to figure out. Okay. That's your hook. Any questions on hooks? Start with a question. Ask a question that pulls people in, that makes them want to engage with you and want to watch your video. Okay. Next, let's talk about, actually, before we even do that. Okay. The hook should be the first words out of your mouth. I know that's hard because we're nervous and we're waiting for people to join. And so sometimes we get in this habit, and it is a habit where we're like, hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? Am I live? Am I not live? What's happening? Oh, look, let's see. We've got Luanda here and Mary Beth here and Tiffany here and Gulnara here. And okay, no one is watching the video to watch you say hi to everybody. They want the content. So get to the content. So the first words out of your mouth need to be the hook. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. If you need a baby step, you may start with something like, hi, everybody. Happy Monday. All right, I got a question for you. And then go into your question. Okay? Practice that. That's what this is all about. Your homework today is going to be to practice the things that you're going to learn today. So not only practice starting with a hook, which is a question. That's you're going to start with a question, but practice actually starting with the hook and not all the filler that we do. Okay. Remember, 80% of your views happen after the fact. Cater to that audience. Don't forget about that audience. Yes, you've got people on live. Okay. But you don't need to say hi to everyone that's on with you live. You can do that at a different point. Doesn't have to be out of the gate. One of the fastest ways to get people to drop at the very beginning is if you're not on point. If you're all over the place saying hi to everybody and chit-chatting with people, you're going to have people drop. So start right away with content. You can welcome people and chit-chat at a later point in time. Okay. Let's talk about the story. Okay. So earlier I asked why stories were important, and Mary Beth said, let me see if I can find it. What did she say? Where was it? There we go. Mary Beth said, a story makes it easier to relate, and it's a connection to the point. And I shared that it is also a way to entertain and allow people to have an escape and allow people to connect with you, right? Especially if it's a funny story or an interesting story. There could be a moment that we have as a result of telling a story. Okay? You decide how big or how emotional of a story you want to tell. You have to decide that. There are you find them all over YouTube and LinkedIn, probably more Instagram and TikTok, sharing stories that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I would ever tell that story. That's the beauty of it. You get to decide how raw you want to be in your stories. Okay. But here's what I will say about stories. If you're telling an emotional story or a story that is about hardship or struggles, make sure there is a lesson in that story. right? There's a saying, what is the moral of the story? That's what you want to focus on with your storytelling, is you want to make sure that there is something that you're going to teach, some point that allows you to connect to what you do and what your business is all about. Otherwise, it just becomes complaining. And we've all seen videos where somebody is complaining about a problem and there's no point. They're just complaining to complain. You don't want to complain. Tell the story, but it has to have something to it, a lesson, right? An obstacle that you overcame, a challenge that you faced. And that, listen, you might not have beat it. You might have failed miserably. Stories do not have to be wins. They do not have to be positive, but they do have to have a lesson. Okay. So consider that when you're telling your story. What you want to do is that point, that lesson somehow ties into who you are and what your business is all about and how you can help people. Okay. So for example, if I want to tell a story about the time that my husband made chili, and it was really nice gesture, but he took a whole, the little spice jars of chili powder, I'm talking about, they're maybe that tall. He thought that was a single serving. So he took the chili powder and he dumped the whole thing in the pot of chili because he thought it was a single, the packets. He just thought that whole thing went in. And I remember as the chili is cooking, I was like, whew, it's really spicy. The air, the smell of it was really, really spicy. Whoa, right? And then when it came time to eat the chili, I couldn't even, I took a bite, I had to spit it out. And even after I spit it out, it was so strong and we still laugh about it to this day. Okay. Great story, emotional story. You're all probably laughing at my husband's horrible cooking skills, right? Okay. What is the point of that story? And can I connect the point of that story into my business and into what I do? Sometimes you have to get creative, right? So one of the things you can think about is, okay, what are the possible lessons of the story? When you don't know something, ask. Don't assume, right? One size does not fit all. You could come up with all sorts of things that you can tie into your business. So don't feel like the story has to be something business related. Sometimes those personal stories are the best ones that you can pull in. Okay. If this is a skill that you're like, boy, this is hard, I'm not really good at this. Every Thursday, there is an improv opportunity. Every Thursday in the Get on Camera group, there's an improv. I do a post of some random object and I say, how would you tie this into your business? It is an opportunity to stretch those muscles on connecting random things, random stories, random items into your business. I highly encourage you to do this. This is a really great exercise. If you want more than once a week, then when you're sitting and watching TV at night, take 2 or 3 minutes and just look around your home and find random things. Okay, how would I connect this into my business? What else do I got here? How would I connect this into my business? Oils. What else do I got? Oh, I got this rock. How might I connect this rock into my business? The more you exercise that muscle, the easier it will get. Okay. So you are going to have a hook. You're going to start with a question. You are going to tell a story. You're looking for an emotional connection here that has a point that you can tie into your business. Okay. Finally, call to action. Number one, most important thing, you get one call to action. Just like one hook, one question, one call to action. Anybody have a guess on why that would be? Why would I only want one call to action at the end of my video? Any guesses? We'll just wait. I like waiting. There's a delay because I messed with tech. That's what I get for not testing this first. And we will wait. Why do I only want one call to action at the end? My call to action is the thing in which I want them to do. What is their homework? What is their action step? What is their next step? Okay. So I've got avoid confusion. Bing, 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 bing. You got it. If I were to end this video this one right here. And I would say, okay, everybody, here's your call to action. I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and then follow me on Facebook. I mean, my business page. I really need business page follow. So follow me there. And while you're there, give me a review. And we're friends on Facebook, right? And are you following me on Instagram? Do that too. And share this video so other people see it. And don't forget to comment because that is really helpful. And oh yeah, book a call with me. And then, oh, here's a link. Go check it. It's too many things. There's something called the law of diminishing return. And that means if I give you too many options, people are paralyzed and they just do none of it. If you've ever gone to a restaurant, like I think of the Cheesecake Factory, and you get the menu and it's this thick and it's like 72 pages of items, it's overwhelming and you don't know what to do. What am I going to eat? I need an hour just to surf through the menu. Okay? Don't do that to your people. One call to action. Now I know what you're thinking, but I want them to do all of those things. Yeah, mix it up. Mix it up. Today's video, I'm going to ask you to go to my Facebook group. Next week's video, I might say, follow my, go to my business page. The next week, you mix it up. And it doesn't always have to be that kind of action. Sometimes your call to action might just be, what are you going to do with this information? Okay. My call to action for you today, you're going to hear this at the end, is going to be, I want you to practice this. I want you to practice in your next video. I want you to practice having a hook and starting with a question. I want you to add in a story into your content, and I want you to close with a call to action. I want you to practice this. That's your call to action. So it can be a next step. It can be helping them apply what it is that they've learned. Okay. You don't want every single video to always be a pitch. Buy. Fastest way to lose followers, fastest way to have people not tuning in and watching, because nobody wants to be sold to. That doesn't mean they don't want your offers and they don't want to understand what your offers are. They just don't want it shoved down their throats every single video. So mix it up, have some variety. Okay. All right. Let me see if you guys have any questions on hook, story, call to action. Okay, I just did a little bitty story there with the menu, and look at the comment. Mary Beth's like, oh my gosh, yes, there's a restaurant that has that. Now Mary Beth and I are connected around this little bitty story around a menu. Sometimes your story is just a teeny tiny analogy. It doesn't have to be this massive thing, okay? And you will still get the benefits of that connection. Now, I, for one, am like, I don't know what Montano's is. I'm going to have to reach out to Mary Beth and be like, what's Montano's? How do I not have this, right? Okay. Yes, Golnara, yes. The toothpaste aisle. There are 300 different kinds of toothpaste. And then to make it more complicated, even if you can narrow it down and be like, okay, I'm a Colgate girl. I don't know what you guys are, but I'm a Colgate girl. Anybody else? Colgate, Crest. What are your toothpaste? What kind of toothpaste you like? But even within Colgate, there are like 10 different kinds of Colgate toothpaste. I've made the mistake many times of having my husband go to the store to get toothpaste, and he will inevitably call me and be like, I don't know which one. It's overwhelming. Yes, you're doing the same thing to your people, the exact same thing. Don't do it. Okay, Mary Beth, it's Colgate. See, now Mary Beth and I are connected not only on the overwhelming menus, but now also on Colgate. I love it. I love it. All right. You got this? Hook, story, call to action. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. Next week, Tuesday, same time and same place, we're going to go through this, but I'm going to talk about how you plan this and how all of these things should be integrated. That's next week. This week, all I want you to worry about is starting with those first few steps. Do a video this week. You can do it in my Get on Camera Facebook group. And I want you to start with a question. I want you to tell me a story somewhere in your video. And I want you to have one call to action. If it helps, sometimes it helps me. I will actually say, all right, your call to action today is, and then I got one thing. Okay. Okay. Practice makes, I don't want to say practice makes perfect, because that's not true, right? We don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect, because the things that make me, my flaws and all, is what makes me interesting. It's what makes you all connect better with me. So it's not about perfect. It is about comfort and confidence and knowing what the heck you're doing. So that you can say, I'm going to go live today, or I'm going to go live on Thursday, and you have a map. You have a plan. what am I going to talk about and how am I going to talk about it? That's the objective. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Okay? You've all heard me talk about start, suck, get better. Start, suck, get better. You need to suck in order to learn and grow and get better at something. But the problem is most of us don't start something new because we don't want to suck. We want it to be perfect. And the stink of that is that you won't get better if you don't go through the practice, if you don't go through the suck. So embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. Everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody who is going live and doing videos, their very first video sucked. Okay, today was my first time going live and using my new toy, my new tech toy, and it didn't work. It went horribly wrong. But now I know what I got to mess with. And now I've learned something from it. And it wasn't so horrible. I eventually came back. You had a few minutes of black screen, but hopefully you could still hear me. It sucked, but it's okay because I learned something from it and I'm going to get better at it. And the next time I go live, I'm going to have that sucker down. Okay. Start, suck, get better. You may suck at this. The first one you might do, you might be like, oh my God, that story was horrible. My question was awful. Blah, blah, blah. Learn from it. Learn from it. Okay. Now you know hook, story, call to action. If this was new to you, you now have learned it. If you've heard it before, you had a wonderful little refresh. Okay, Gulnara says, I heard hook, story, call to action many times, and every time I feel like I've never heard it. Thank you for reminding. Okay, there's a great lesson in here, right? Your people need reminding as well. Even on the basic things, that you are sharing, they need these reminders. Okay. I'm glad that helped, Gulnara. You are not you are in a suck state. We are, aren't we? I mean, depending on what's happening in our world, if you're constantly evolving and you're constantly challenging yourself and you're constantly learning new things, which is how we grow, you're constantly in a suck state. What you got to do is just embrace that you're in a suck state and embrace the fact that I can be comfortable even when I suck. This is how I get better. Okay. Any questions before we wrap this up today? Any questions about hook, story, call to action? Any questions about your homework? Let me say this. So in terms of your homework going live, I'll just refresh on the guidelines in this group. Anytime you are practicing, you can go live anytime you want and talk about whatever you want in this group. Anytime. But you gotta say, I'm practicing and I'm working on my hook, story, call to action. I'm practicing today and I'm working on my close. I'm practicing today and I'm working on my whatever it is that you're working on. You got to state it in the video. As long as you state it in the video and in the description that goes with your video, you can go live and do whatever you want as often as you want. Okay. So if you need help with topic prompts, there's one every Monday. Every Monday, there's a topic prompt that you can use to help inspire you about what you're going to talk about. Okay. Use the topic prompt. Don't use the topic prompt. It's there for your choice. Okay. Okay. That's right. Gulnara's got it. Practice. Yes, you got to practice. All right. I am not seeing any other questions, so I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bring your questions as you start to work through this. And then we're going to talk about planning this and how to integrate all of this. So next week will be a really awesome session. And you have my commitment to figure out my tech tools between now and then. How's that sound? I'll do it before then. But I'm going to turn my suck into a get better situation, just like you will. All right? Okay. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.